Your InfoHub headlines today are 2,000 more Guyanese trained in oil and gas sector. Pakuri elects female Tushao. Fight against substance abuse to be addressed at the Health Expo. The battle against trafficking in persons registers another success. The U.S. signals strong support for Guyana in independence message. And the Civil Aviation Authority gets a new board. Now for the details on these and many other stories. Almost 2,000 additional persons have been trained for specialist work in the oil and gas sector. Alexis Rodney opens this evening with this report.
22 young Guyanese on Monday formed part of the first batch of graduates from Total Tech International Marine and Petroleum Training Academy at Houston, East Bank, Demerara. The training will position the young men to take on leading roles in the evolving oil and gas sector. At the graduation ceremony on Monday, Total Tech's Chief Executive Officer, Lars Mangle, said hundreds of Guyanese will have to be prepared for what is to come.
The first ambition we had and set was that we would really champion and foster the development of Guyanese participation in the industry. So in Guyana's oil and gas industry, we would ensure that we would enable and certify so that Guyanese could actually access jobs within the industry at a much faster pace.
Total Tech has been garnering support from a number of key stakeholders and investors. Minister of Natural Resources Raphael Trotman commended the company's initiative and the students for their drive and enthusiasm. Some of the graduates shared their thoughts on the training.
The 9-week course was a very compact 9 weeks based on safety and necessary courses that will put us on the standard or make us competent towards the oil and gas industry.
Well, it is a great pleasure being in this training. It uplifts your skills, uplifts your knowledge in safety and different areas. This is a new sector coming into Guyana, so it's a great opportunity.
This was exciting. At first it was quite challenging given that, oil and gas is new in Guyana and we have to adapt to it. It was challenging for me, but I overcome the challenges by the constant interventions by the lecturers. They constantly would, clear up whatever difficulty we have within the classrooms.
The program comprised theory and practical training in a vast number of areas, including safety awareness, environmental best practice, emergency response, and oil and gas operations. Alexis Rodney for InfoHub.
On a recent trip to the United States, Foreign Minister Carl Greenidge made a strong pitch to investors. InfoHub was there, and Tiffany Rogers now tells us more.
Minister of Foreign Affairs Carl Greenidge told business investors in Atlanta, Georgia, there are opportunities for knowledge-intensive and other services along the supply chain of the oil and gas sector.
One has to look at the services that are being required and try and ensure that you can find advantage in putting together packages of skills that can deal and meet the needs or demands of the company.
Minister Greenidge recently met with the Minority Business Development Agency, MBDA, at Georgia Tech. The meeting was facilitated by Libra Management Group. The group provides management and consulting services to federal government entities in the U.S. Facilitator Stacey Mollison said the engagement gave businesses the opportunity to take a new look at Guyana.
It's really important, not because I come from Guyana, but because there's so much happening in Guyana now. I wanted to have real and true diaspora engagement in terms of who we can bring to look at opportunities in the country.
Georgia Tech's MBDA is part of the school's economic development with a focus on job creation. MBDA works with minority firms to improve their capacities. Minister Greenidge also mentioned the investment opportunities in mining, infrastructure, and other major developmental projects. For InfoHub, Tiffany Rogers.
The Ministry of Public Health will utilize the upcoming Health Expo to intensify work on tackling substance abuse. Here is this Natisha Isaacs report.
As it relates to Health Expo, we will be launching our substance misuse program. That is prevention and promotion of substance misuse. What we find, alcohol misuse is quite prevalent in Guyana. And because of this, the mental health unit has decided that we are going to launch this at Health Expo.
Health Education Officer Tashia James added that although the general public will be targeted, special attention will be placed on youths and school-age teenagers during the 4-day Health Expo.
We're going to launch it by having our giant size adverts, as you can see behind here, and also we're going to be giving information, and more importantly, we will have interactive workshop on site with students and the general populace. We're starting with the school children, the young adults, because we find that they're the segment of society that's most at risk with substance misuse.
This and other programs will be launched as the Ministry of Public Health hosts its inaugural Health Expo starting tomorrow at the Sophia Exhibition Center. The expo is being held under the theme, Reaching for a Better Life with Good Health. For InfoHub, Letitia Isaacs.
Thank you, Natisha. Mega conglomerate banks DIH's revenue are trending upward. This is an unmistakable sign that Guyana's economy is making strides. Crystal Stoll joins us with this report.
Beverage giant Banks DIH Limited has reported a 6% revenue increase in the first quarter of 2018, reaching some $15.8 billion compared to $14.9 billion for the same period in 2017. Profits for the company has also increased by 9%, seeing $1.43 billion compared to $1.32 billion during the same period last year. According to the company, that sum indicates a dividend for shareholders amounting to $238 million or $0.28 per share. With its countrywide distribution network, Banks DIH is considered the leading company. In his report, company chairman Clifford Rees said the growth was from an increase in dollar sales, physical growth in case sales, and efficiencies in the manufacturing processes. These, he said, were all derived from capital investments in new plant and machinery for the production departments. The company's financial holding, Citizens Bank, also reported an unaudited profit after tax of $277 million. According to the chairman, it is ready to respond to the opportunities within the petroleum and gas sector, and the need for local content input will present. Plans for the second half of 2018 include a solar energy program at the OMG restaurant and new packaging lines for its biscuits and ice cream products, among other areas. Crystal Stoll for InfoHub.
After the break, we'll tell you that Pakuri has a new tushao. Do stay with us. Welcome back. Pakuri joins Barometer and Santa Rosa in electing its first female tushao. Alexis Rodney joins us again with this report.
Pakuri, or St. Cuthbert's Mission, as it is commonly known, recently elected its first female tushao. Senior Mistress Beverly Clenkian says her step into the political arena stemmed from her desire to push development in the only Amerindian settlement in Region 4.
What inspired me to take up this challenge is because I wanted to see development in my community and to see and to play a great role in leadership as a woman in my community.
Additionally, Clenkian intends to serve with distinction by working across the divide to improve the status quo within her community.
One of my main plans is transparency and to develop my community. To work together with my resident, to be as one, to go to them home to home and chat with them, the issues affecting them, so that we can work it out together as one and come together to cooperate so that we can develop our community.
Tushao Beverly Clenkian replaces Lennox Schumann and will join at least 2 other recently elected women at the National Tushao Council, Juanita Phillips of Santa Rosa and Charmin Rambaju of Barometer Region 1. Alexis Rodney for InfoHub.
Thank you, Alexis. The Ministry of Social Protection is not letting up in the fight against trafficking in persons. A Parika shopkeeper was recently sentenced to 3 years in prison for trafficking a young girl in the Mausi Back Dam. Sanika Thorne reports.
It is reported that between January 13 to 20, 2014, Loretta Hyman recruited and transported 2 women to the Mausi Back Dam for the purpose of sexual exploitation. TIP coordinator Tanisha Williams-Kerbin explained that Hyman was only convicted on one count of trafficking in person, since the other victim refused to give evidence in the matter.
Those young ladies were subjected to various forms of exploitation. Justice was served where the conviction was ordered.
Williams-Kerbin explained that the matter was tried ex parte, which means that Hyman was not present during the proceedings.
We are pleading with the Guyana Police Force to take necessary actions in order to ensure that Loretta Hyman is found so that she can, face her sentence.
In 2014, Hyman's daughter recruited the two women to work as a cook and a shopkeeper at their shop. On their arrival, the accused told the women that there were only vacancies for sex workers. The girl refused and called their relatives, who immediately contacted the Ministry of Social Protection. Measures were taken to rescue the females and have the accused stand trial in the court. Seneca Thorne, Info Hub.
The Civil Aviation Authority has a new board. Ronetta LaFleur has this report.
The 9-member board was installed this morning at GCAA's head office in Kingston. Minister within the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, Annette Ferguson, recalled the authority's significant achievements over the last 2 years.
We were able, over the last 2.5 years, to hire the requisite personnel for the right job. I think just a few months ago, we would have moved from issuing of manual license, pilot license, to a more modernized license. So the license that our officers received are basically the plastic type license.
Other successes highlighted include the increase in level of compliance from 44.4% to 64.6%, a new simulator at CJIA, and more staff training. GCAA's Director General, retired Lieutenant Colonel Egbert Field, said the new board will continue to give support amidst rising challenges.
The eminent oil production creating a lot of activity when it comes to the aviation industry. The expanded Cheddi Jagan International Airport with its extended runway of 10,500 feet. And also our own domestic aviation, which continues to grow as gold price rises. So it's a tsunami ahead of this authority, but I'm up to the challenge.
Chairman of the board, Lieutenant Colonel retired Lawrence London, committed to work hard to enhance the aviation sector and support businesses. Other board members include Kenneth Jordan, Courtney Byrne, Duke Pollard, Ramesh Gair, Sadie Amin, Sharon Beverly, and Leon Castello. Ronetta LaFleur for InfoHub.
And finally, the United States has signaled strong support for Guyana's territorial integrity case in its Independence Day message. Here is Tiffany Rogers once again.
U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo laid out what the United States deems to be the country's true geographical borders in his independence message. Pompeo wished, quote, the people of Guyana from the Corentyne to the Pacaraimás, from the Takatu to the Amakura, and across the entire land of many waters, a happy Independence Day celebration, end quote. The Amakura River is in Region 1 and forms part of the northern section of the international boundary with Venezuela. Its mention is seen as a subtle message of support at a time when Guyana has approached the International Court of Justice in order to settle the border controversy with its neighbor once and for all. The Pacaraima Mountains and the Takatu River border Brazil, while the Corentyne represents the border with Suriname. Pompeo also said his country looks, quote, forward to advancing prosperity by helping Guyana to develop its emerging oil sector in partnership with U.S. business, end quote. It comes at a time when American oil giants Exxon and Hess are less than 2 years away from production offshore, the revenues from which are expected to transform the country. For InfoHub, Tiffany Rogers.
And we have an important public service message for all eligible voters. GCOM's registration is underway until July 22. Visit the office in your area to get registered to vote. Remember, local government elections are due by the end of this year. And finally, Guyana's first ever health fair commences tomorrow at the Sophia Exhibition Center. Be sure to check it out and get all the info on living a healthy lifestyle. Goodbye.